I don't even know what I look like. Hello, everybody. I can't believe I actually made it. Um, why is, oh, okay. I see why. Oh, I think the hat's going to have to come off. Oh, don't even look at this. Hi, we are a mess. Oh, no, it's not the hat. Okay, it's this. It's this. I literally just jumped in from the airport. I don't even have any lipstick on. If I do, it's bad. It's not great lipstick. Any rate, how is everybody? What's going on? How was your weekend? How was your Friday? Um, um, how's everything? Um, I have had. Need to. I don't know what's behind me. You're probably going to hear all kinds of noise because I didn't soundproof anything. This I'm just want you to know how much I love you and I love this show and I love um making sure that conservatives have a voice. Wait, I'm not in the center of the frame because I am exhausted from travel, but I wanted to jump on here to say hi to everybody. I hope everything's working right. I think so. Let's see who's here. Hi, Colleen. Great to have you. Oh, my mother. I called you back this morning, so don't even mum. Hello, Andrew Dorman. Good to have you. Kevin, how are you, Kevin Young? Good to have you. Good to have everybody here. Okay, so we have no videos today. Let's see if I can get this light to do. Oh, that's it. That's not going to work. Oh, maybe that will. We have no videos today. Why? Because they're all in my phone, and I have not had a chance to upload anything from my phone. So that's screwy. But we've got a lot that we can talk about, right? I mean, we have this is called Lots of Pinocchios because of what's been going on in Minnesota and what's been going on in the Midwest with um, the protesters, and they are trying to um, make a saint out of Good, Renee Good, and we're coming out. We're learning so much more about her now. We know that she was basically a professional protester, and from what we can see, she didn't have a job. We don't know of her employment. She had. Now we're learning she had 3 kids, not just one, and 2 children were taken away from her. Um, we know that her wife was the one who told her to drive, which resulted in her getting shot. Um, but we have Ilhan Omar and others standing out in the streets, calling for basically the arrest and the condemnation of ICE. And, the thing I don't understand is, or the thing that I can't wrap my head around, and we've already talked about, right? Ashley Babbitt being being killed. But I'm going to try and do this and see if this puts a little bit more light on the subject. Maybe it does. Okay, that's better. I hope the ring light doesn't reflect too much in my eyeglasses and bother you. But here we are. So we talked about Ashley Babbitt and the fact that she was shot by a police officer on January 6th, and that there are, and I know Colleen has, I'm going to try this instead. Oh, much better. We know that Colleen is having some arguments on one of my posts on Facebook about these people, mostly liberal white women, who are yelling and carrying on that police officers died on January 6th, which we know is a lie. And I told you all that I'm reading the book Courage Under Fire, and it's very interesting. It's a firsthand account of the head of the Capitol Hill police, and some anomalies occurred as they were preparing for January 6th, which he talks about, including that all of a sudden Maxine Waters wanted to be briefed on what was going to happen on January 6th, and she wanted whites to be barred from from protesting. She said that we needed to have people, that we had to have the proper demographics represented there. And Sang said, who, and that's his name, the chief of the Capitol Hill Police, said, no, we don't do that. We don't do, and she was upset about the message. She said, we don't want, certain messages being put out there. And he said, we don't get involved in what the message is. We just, we can't curtail the First Amendment right of protesters. So, really, really good book. I suggest, I'm not finished with it yet. I haven't gotten to the point where what actually happened when the protest turned into a riot. Omar demanding transparency, priceless. It is. I can't. Thank you. I'm glad you think so. Oh, Marge Filan. Hi, how are you? You must really miss me that you're on my show. Good to have you, Margie. Omar doesn't learn. She wants to get into more trouble. Well, they think that they're going to take back the House in the midterms. You have to understand that everything that they're doing right now is motivated by them taking back the House in the midterm elections. And they figure that it worked with the George Floyd protesters, so why wouldn't it work a second time, right? Because the George Floyd protesters, the Summer of Love, occurred right before the presidential election, and it resulted in good things for them. And they believe in their heart of hearts that these protests are going to result in Americans giving the Democrats the House and the Senate, or at least one of the two, so that they can start impeachment proceedings. I beg to differ with them. I think that after the Summer of Love, there are a lot of moderates that have seen that movie before and they know the outcome, and they're not going to go for it. But they're going to, the leftists are going to keep on trying. Hello, Angela Ricca. How are you? They're going to keep on pushing because they don't know anything else. They don't know anything else. I mean, let's think about this right now. The left is protecting rapists, criminal, illegal migrants. That's what they're doing. They're protecting criminal, illegal migrants over the women that they killed. And they're mostly all women that were killed. So, and when I say the leftists too, I mean, all of them, Maxine Waters, Ilhan Omar, and that whole group of people that auditioned to be Congress members that we talked about in previous shows. This is a whole group of global elitists whose job is to bring America to its knees. Very, very scary. And who they're using to do it is liberal white women. Hello, Johnny's here. Open borders, men and girls bathroom, Somali fraud, Democrats can never be trusted again. 100% agree. And I'm not going to say just Democrats, Johnny, because there are plenty of Republicans who, look at Rand Paul, just voted with the Democrats to stop Trump's power, stop the president's power as chief, as the head of the military, commander in chief, to wage war against, or not wage war, but do a military action to keep America safe. We have Republicans that have done that too. So I'm not going to just say Democrats, and I'm not going to say all Democrats, because there's some blue dog Democrats like John Fetterman who support the president. I'm going to say lunatic leftists who have been bought off by the global elitists, and there's plenty of that, and we're seeing the evidence of it now. Good evening, Beer Nut. Good to have you. Thank you for joining us. They don't have support of the Black communities in this fight. They don't. Paul Persons, I'm watching and agree. Thanks, Paul. I'm hoping that Do you hold on a second? Jeff Carrero, good to have you, Jeff Carrero. Do you answer live chat questions? Of course we do. That's the whole idea of the show. The show is you drive the conversation, especially today when I have absolutely no videos to show. Usually there's a video or two to start the conversation, but not today. So, Paul, ask away. I want you to know, I'm going to get to this in a second. Hi, Francine. Thanks for joining. Hold on. They voted for Obamacare extension too. Yeah, they did. They did. So again, you can't just put these aren't boxes, Republican, Democrats. There are plenty of bad Republicans out there, plenty of good Democrats out there. We've got to think about patriots. That protection of illegal migrant crime is disgusting. It absolutely is. But we talked about this many, many times. They've declared themselves sanctuary cities and states. How can they do that? They can't. That's illegal. That's against the Constitution. And they want to talk about what Trump's doing is being against the Constitution. Thank the Lord she wasn't Somalian. Yeah. Well, so let's talk about these liberal white women. And just give me a second. I have to take a sip because I literally ran from the plane and ran in here. Okay. How about Lincoln Riley? How about Nunsbury? How about all the women that were raped and killed by these criminals? How come these liberal white women are not saying anything? They don't say their names. They didn't protest in the street when these women died. And it's not just here, even in the UK. Women are being raped on a regular and people are turning the other way. This is a problem. This is a big problem. So they're coming at women in many, many different ways, right? The trans are taking our sports from us. They're taking our identities from us. They're taking our young girls from us. The criminal migrants are raping and killing them, us women. Where are all of the women activists? How come how is the activists now stating that free Palestine and holding up Muslims or fundamentalist Muslims? I'm not going to paint that broad brush because they're Muslims are there. I have nothing against Muslims. I have nothing against any religion. I have everything against all fundamentalist religions because they're all a problem. But how come nobody's talking about how women are being destroyed? And how come liberal white women are helping to destroy women? What? I mean, how stupid are you when you actually go against your own interests and the interests of your daughters and your sisters? I don't get it. Minnesota full of white liberal self-hating women afraid of being labeled racist if they question anything. Claudia, you are 100% correct. And it is really, really a shame. And that seems to be, there's a gravitational pull to Seattle, to Minnesota. Why is that? What's going on with that? That's crazy. Crime aside, they're taking housing, jobs, and resources meant for Americans. Well, yes, they are. But we are giving it up. And I probably touched upon this a little bit on the pre-recorded show the other day. And I don't know, I was talking, but nobody was answering back. So I don't know if you guys were all seeing that I was talking. But how is it that we have lost the American culture? That chick that played Raven, I forget her name, was interviewed by Oprah, and Oprah said, well, you're African American. She said, no, I'm not. I'm just American. And Oprah was appalled that she would say such a thing. And she said, listen, my people have been here since the beginning of America. It's a different world than Africa. I have no ties to Africa. I only have ties to America. So I'm American. And when did that stop? When did we start hyphenating? When did we lose our culture? Okay, we talked about that for a minute. You are starting to scare me. I'm scaring you? I explain what I'm scaring you about. Thanks, Kitty. Who are all the Congress members that aren't born here and kicked out of Congress? Well, that's another thing. I, I believe in America being a melting pot, but the founding fathers were very, very clear, and they were weary of infiltration. Um, and we're not, because we're afraid of being called racist. Where are the Me Too women? Yeah, Margie, where are they? Where are the Me Too women standing up for these women and girls, some of the babies, 11 and 12 years old, being raped, not just in our country, but in Ireland, in the UK, in Denmark. Where are they? Where are they? And as we've asked the question in the past, how come all these people, these fundamentalist Muslim people, migrated from their countries to European countries all at the same time? There wasn't an event that kind of pushed them out. It wasn't like, something happened. It wasn't like Africa exploded, or, the Middle East, we had problems. But, where did they all come from? This has been going on for almost a decade now. So where'd that all come from? I don't know. Awfuls, affluent white female liberals. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We miss their pink hats. It's just amazing to me. And you don't need pink hats, because they all have pink and blue and purple hair and nose rings now. They're more metal in their face. I don't know how they go to metal detectors. I don't know. Where were the protesters for Lake and Riley? Not one there. Not a one there. Hello, Mickey Petrides. How are you? If Good was killed by an illegal, the left would not even mention it. Apparently, that's true, right? We know that's true because they, they didn't say shit about all the women. And these are the ones I could remember off the top of my head: Nungary and Lake and Riley. There were so many more, so many more. But before I continue on, I wanted to just mention something, and I've got to actually make a text and see if I can get this text through. I met a group on the plane, and they were such a nice group of people, and they have a podcast too, a real estate podcast here in South Carolina. They're real estate agents. So if anybody's thinking about coming to South Carolina, I think that you should watch this podcast. The problem is I can't remember the name. So I'm going to text right now their person, and I'm going to ask if she could give me the name so that I could plug their podcast. It was something box, and I just can't think of that first word. I knew when I read it, or when I heard it, that it had to do with real estate, but I've been racking my mind ever since, and I can't remember the word. Let me see. Leticia from the plane. What is the podcast name? Let's see if she answers me before the end of the show. They were such great people, and they knew so much about Southern real estate, South Carolina real estate. So if any of you are thinking of moving down here, maybe you tune in and find out what's going on here with real estate, because it's still very affordable here. Now, I just came back. I went to my girlfriend Lori's birthday. We spent a birthday weekend together. We went to Gulfstream Racetrack. And it's very interesting in Florida. Where we were was Broward County. That's where my grandson lives, Broward County, which is very left. Very left. Where she lives is West Palm Beach. We went by Mar-a-Lago. We went all through there. She lives in West Palm Beach, and some other friends, Steve Margarello, who I know you know. We went and said hello with him, and some others who were down there. They all live in Palm Beach County, and Palm Beach County was more right, but they didn't vote for Trump the last go round. And now we know that Miami, the city of Miami, voted for a Democrat for the first time in like 40 years. Why do I tell you this? Because there's a reason the Democrats think that they're going to win the midterm elections. These are the little things that make the Democrats think that they're going to win the midterm elections. We can stop it, and Trump is going to stop it. Trump can stop it because Trump is going to make things more affordable. Now, when I was in Florida last, which was just a couple of months ago, the price of gas was well over $3. Now it's 238, I saw in some places. So that's going to be helpful. The price of food is coming down, and people were talking about that. The rents are stabilized. Interest rates are coming down. All these things are going to kind of stop the left movement or the blue wave. But we have to do our part too. And I was telling my new friends, Patty Kane and the Something Box podcast people, that the reason that we have to have conservative talkers on podcasts and on the radio and on TV is because we have to remind people where we're coming from, because it's very easy. Americans are very fickle. It's what have you done for me lately? So if you don't remind people where you came from, if they forget, they'll just forget the whole of it. So we have to keep reminding people, and in a way, these protests are reminding people about what happened with George Floyd. They're reminding people how much anxiety there was before. It's reminding people that of all the damage, the burning buildings and all that had occurred before. And I just wish President Trump, if you're watching, I wish that you would have a very sympathetic tone with the American people from here on out, especially when it comes to these protests. I am not saying that you should go against ICE, and I'm not saying you should take the side of Renee and her wife. What I am saying is you should tell the American people that we've got things under control, that we're getting there, and that everything that is going wrong right now is going wrong intention. These leftists are creating this havoc for one reason and one reason only, and it's politics. And they want to be able to impeach you. Now, I know you say these things, President Trump, but I think it's time that you say it a little bit more sympathetically, because no matter what, American girls are really emotional. And I mean, not the ones that watch this podcast. We're all tough MFers who carry guns, but in general, American women are nurturers, and we would prefer a gentler touch. So JD Vance, Marco Rubio, all of you, you need to stay tough, but you need to have a more sympathetic tone and assure everybody that we're okay. And I'm going to say why I said that. I say that because on the plane we were talking a little bit about what's going on in Venezuela. We're talking about China, Russia, and Greenland, and what's happening there. And one of the people on the plane were saying that they're really nervous. It's getting them nervous because they don't know, is this going to be World War III? And I get it. I get that they're being nervous. But we have been so impotent for so long that people are not used to us flexing our muscle, America. And we have flexed our muscle quite a bit in the past. And we should again here. There are groups in America that protest against America. Yeah, of course. This is their job. 212 here in Murrells Inlet. That's gas. Yes, it is 212. Use compassion. That's what we need. We need what was it? I mean, one of the things that that Bush called it, compassionate something or another. I can't remember. Compassionate conservatism. That's what he called it. We just need a little compassion, because the girls, I mean, men, you're speaking to speak of men, which is why men are, flocking to the Republican Party. But two things you have to remember. Girls are very emotional, even old girls like me. very emotional, and we cringe. And young boys are a little pussified. So, while they like you, if you're too much, they're not used to it. So you're not just speaking to soldiers all the time, President Trump. You're speaking to, there's a mixed bag here of Americans, and because we've been impotent for so long, we don't know how we're going to handle this. You got to remind us that we're strong. You've got to encourage us to be strong and to take our stand for America. You got to encourage that. You've got to remind us of why America is great and what we're fighting for. Because at the end of the day, what will keep, and I said this to the people that I was speaking to on the plane, that at the end of the day, what will keep America safe is not just our military, but our men and women here who all own firearms and who would never allow foreign invaders to take over and to destroy the greatest country in the world and to take our constitutional republic and trash it. And that includes the blue-haired, metal-faced awfuls. They want socialism here. Fuck no. No. You want socialism? There's a handful of countries, mostly in South America, all poor, that are socialist countries. Go there. Go there to experience socialism firsthand. You think that the reason that socialism isn't working in those countries is because they're doing it wrong? Well, go there and show them how to do it. Good. I dare you. I dare you. John Lambert Eek. Please help. My father is in the hospital. Bill is much on me, and my son still sick too. Please help me. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, sweetheart. We don't do that here. You're going to have to go beg somewhere else. But yet he can give help to radical Muslims. Trying to think of who can give help to. Yeah. Oh, Trump. Yes. Did you see the prince today making the circuit on the TV shows saying he's going back to Iran? The son of no, it wasn't the son. It was the actual Shah. I think it was the Shah. Maybe it was the son. Yeah, because it was a prince, right? I can't remember his name, and I'm sorry. That's just because I'm so rushed today. But yeah, he said he's going back to Iran. They called it Persia back in the day. That's what my adopted daughter calls it. And so he's going back to take a seat back. Ellen's coming back. De Niro moving out of New York City because of Mondani. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Margie, I'm glad you brought that up. See, they're going to have to get their shit together. George Clooney's leaving Hollywood and going to France because he doesn't want to raise his kids in Hollywood. So, listen, this is America, constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. If you live here, you need to be an American. You need to swear an oath to America. If you're here on a student visa or on any kind of visa and wanting to share in what America has to give, then you have to give a little bit of an oath to America, because the days of us giving and not receiving back are over. It's time that we all do our share. What was it John F. Kennedy said? Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you could do for your country. That's important. John, we don't do that. I'm going to tell you again, it doesn't work here. I mean, we can recognize a scammer when we see one. If you need money, there's a million other ways to do it. You're not getting it off of this program. De Niro was leaving when Trump was elected. Yeah. Well, now he's double leaving, Mom. He's double leaving. Okay. So we're back on track. I'm sorry about the last two shows. They weren't great. But I promise you that tomorrow we'll be back on track properly, and everybody will have an opportunity to chat, and I'll answer all the questions, and life will be good. So for now, I'm going to sign off, say thank you, and we will see you all tomorrow. Please share the show, even though it wasn't the best one. Please share it. I love you guys, and I do my best to make it every night. And thank you for making it every night. All right, see you tomorrow.